What's up, everyone, and welcome into episode number 516, where it is my honor and privilege to welcome back a special guest to the podcast, and that is MSU baseball player Adam Broski. Welcome back, man. Glad to have you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know last time you joined, your brother Hunter was able to join with us, but I'm just glad to have you obviously back on. It's been a little bit over a year. I know a lot probably has changed. So you basically had a full year summer ball as well with the Pittsburghs. Just how did this past year kind of go? Just kind of run through of like how the season went, Pittsburghs, all that kind of stuff. Just a little bit of a recap from last time we've had a conversation.
Yeah, so to start with the school season, Michigan State, didn't really go like as how I would have wanted it, but it's
Yeah.
just kind of how the cards came out, and got a chance to go play up in Traverse City this summer, and I had a blast. I played really well. Kind of like gave myself like more confidence playing this summer, and making the All Star game was really cool, and then took even more strides this fall and kind of been able to build off that and kind of just get prepared for the season now.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know you guys' fall ball season just wrapped up not too long ago, so obviously it's a little bit more like individual work, kind of getting a little bit ready for the spring. I'm sure that's probably something you're really looking forward to and probably have pretty big expectations for yourself this year, even though last year didn't necessarily go the way you wanted to. I'm sure you're probably really excited to see kind of the steps that you take going into this year now that you've kind of gone through another basically summer and fall just continue to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I know like I'm going into my third year, but really it's like my second year because I'm
Yeah.
considered a redshirt sophomore. So I think just taking even more strides like I have been really the past, you could say like 8 months. That's just kind of like what we're trying to build on, and to open up the season, we got some pretty big opponents, so like that'll be a good test.
Yep.
And I don't think our schedules has been released yet, so I don't know if I could say. But yeah, we got
Yeah.
some big opponents to start the season, and it's just going to be fun to go out and show like how far us as a team have come since last season, then individually as well.
Yeah, and obviously I don't want you to say any of the points. I don't want you to get in any trouble whatsoever.
Mhm.
But obviously, like when you have those big opponents, you're going to test yourselves really early on. You're going to see, like you mentioned, of how far you've come from last year to this year. And I know last year you had a ability to kind of have like a full season under your belt. And I know you're quote unquote a redshirt sophomore. Did it make it a little bit easier to kind of have that full season under your belt last year, even though you're quote unquote now a redshirt sophomore? Because I know you were injured one year. Did it make it a little bit easier and just kind of get things going a little bit in kind of that college transition, or was it truly kind of more of your freshman year all over again?
Um, I think you could kind of go both ways with that. Like I learned a ton again last year playing behind like Caleb and Noah. With Caleb getting signed to the Red Sox, like he taught me a lot. Same with Noah, him being an older guy, he's been able to teach a lot. But I kind of just knew there wasn't so much a transition because I knew I was gonna like go into the season because I'd
Yeah.
played before I got hurt. But it was more just like this is like this is where you're at right now, and you just got to make the most of it and get better in any way you possibly could. So I just took it as like a learning curve and just did what I could off the field, and then when we were playing, just be there for the guys that were obviously on the field and being as the biggest support I could have been.
Yeah, and you absolutely also got some opportunities throughout the season. I know, like you mentioned, maybe not the season you wanted, maybe not necessarily like the amount of opportunities you would want. But even when you got the opportunities to play in a few games, obviously practice is important. Learning and practicing, getting better in practice is important, but also just getting better in games and playing in games were probably another huge step for you to continue to get a little bit more playing experience because it's probably quite a bit different playing in games than maybe what you experience in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, I've kind of known this, and it's kind of been like my strength is like my defensive abilities. So
Yeah.
those kind of like when I was in the game, Especially like the one start I got against Eastern. Like I know like my defense ability showed out, and the over the summer like the offense started to come along, and then including this past fall, like I started to hit for more power and was driving the ball more, and I struck out once this whole fall, so like that was another big number for me. And yeah, it's just like using the experiences that I've had now for the past, I guess you could say, 2.5, 3 years, and just using those and just getting better every single day.
How fun is it seeing kind of the offensive side come into its own a little bit more? Like, obviously, you mentioned you're more of a defensive catcher. Maybe that's truly what you kind of saw your calling card pretty early on, but now that you're seeing kind of that success at the plate, not only in summer ball, but also in the fall as well, that has to be a little bit of exciting for you as well, knowing that, hey, I still have what I'm really good at, but like my offensive game, my hitting is kind of starting to take strides as well. And also, who doesn't love to hit for power as well? I'm
Right.
sure. I'm sure it's probably something fun to do when you're hitting dingers, hitting doubles, triples, because I know at your baseball field it's pretty easy if you have enough power to hit doubles, triples, home runs if you have enough.
Yeah, dude, it's been great. It kind of just brings like another tool, I guess you could say. Like I've always had, like everybody has as once you get to this level, it's just like
Yeah.
making that tool sharper, I guess you could say, and bringing another aspect to my game that is starting to become like pretty elite, I would say. And like I take a lot of pride in the defense, but now like I've got the confidence offensively, and I'm taking bigger strides offensively than I've really ever had. So it's a great feeling for sure.
And I'm sure you can take obviously the confidence you have defensively when you perform well there to the confidence you have hitting wise. And then if you're hitting well effectively, then you're also catching effectively as well. It kind of plays off of each other. When things are going right, it seems like everything's going right. Maybe when things aren't necessarily going right, you either have to kind of rely on your strength or you have to hope to kind of get things going a little bit more because obviously everyone goes through bumps. Everyone goes through slumps. Everyone goes through that. But it seemed like you didn't experience that too much during the fall, which is obviously a good thing. But it's all about continuing that momentum from there.
Yeah, just being like super consistent. I know over the summer, like I had I want to say like pushing 15 game hit streak, and then showed up one day, went 0 for 5. So it's just kind of like
Yeah.
up and down, and I know that I can rely on my defense to kind of carry me when the offense isn't there. So that's like a good tool to have as well.
Yeah, that's what baseball is, right? Like you might have some like hit streak, and then one day you're seeing the ball really well, or maybe you're hitting the ball really well, making maybe you're making really good contact, but you're hitting it directly to the other team. And I'm sure, obviously, there's a little bit of frustration with that point. But then again, back to your point, you have your defense. You have to continue to not let that get to you because you know that you have the ability to do so. And it seemed like you kind of not only bought into that, but you're kind of getting to that point offensively as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've really bought into not carrying the defense into offense and offense into defense, and I'm still working on that to this day. But definitely gotten a lot better with it. I mean, I would say like to begin the summer, I think I started like 0 for 10, and it didn't affect me defensively,
Yeah.
and that was a big thing for me, and just working on that every single day and continuing to better that, I think helps more than I think a lot of people will realize.
Yeah.
Especially the way our game is, it's very mental, and you fail more than you succeed. So just having the right mindset going into every single day and getting better with that is all you can really do.
Yeah, it's almost like you mentioned, you have to have the right mindset, but you also have to have like a goldfish kind of like memory as well. Like you
Right.
mentioned, like you can't let one thing affect the other because then it's just going to be a spiral. And then maybe if you're not performing very well, you're not playing as much, and then things can spiral. Which obviously, like for your level, like the athletes that you play with, your teammates, yourself, like you're there for a reason. Like you're good. Like you're supposed. Like that's just kind of a matter of fact, but there's obviously still times where you struggle. It's just about, like you mentioned, of how you respond and just kind of your mindset that you have towards that. And it seems like that's been a really big help for you to kind of have that mindset switch from don't let it affect one side of the ball if one side isn't going as well.
Right. I mean, that was kind of the biggest thing last year was I was waking up every single day telling myself like there's a reason why I'm here. Like there's a bigger plan that I don't understand, and that kind of
Yeah.
just helped me persevere through a season where you're not always on the field, and I think that has really helped me going into the summer. I was able to just like go out and perform and like show people like I can do this, and so I didn't only give myself or like prove to myself that I could, but I also proved to other people that didn't believe in me.
Yeah, and you have to kind of have a little bit of that chip on your shoulder, but you also have to have that self belief in it as well. Because if you're not going to believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? Like your
Right.
coaches might, but like if you don't believe in yourself, it truly kind of starts with self belief, and then stepping up, making good plays, performing well, and then other people will basically give it right back to you.
Right. Right. I mean, I know one of the things that stand out about that is over the summer, towards the end, came up in a big spot. I want to say it was the ninth inning. I want to say we were tied or down going into the ninth, and I think it was actually the eighth. I had a big two-out base hit that tied up the game, and then led into a couple other runs after me. So it's kind of just like realizing that I could do that
Yeah,
helped a ton because I mean I lost a lot of self confidence and self belief really the past after surgery, not being able to play that summer, and then going to the fall. Really, like, I mean, I struggled. I wasn't able to play as much as I wanted to. I was playing 2 times a week, and then going into the season, like not playing, I got a little dinged up before the season, and I didn't travel the first week. So I think that kind of was like another setback. Was like, all right, I gotta focus on what I can do and
yeah.
just believe as much as I can. And then got to summer ball, and that self belief grew even more.
Yeah, and when you have surgery, especially for your situation, like I'm sure there's probably a little bit, maybe not specifically for you, but there might be a little bit of like thoughts creeping in the back of your mind, like, am I going to be where I was? Am I going to be able to get where I want to go to? Like the position that you play, like it's a very demanding physical position. Am I still going to be able to play catcher, all that kind of stuff? So obviously there's that part of it, and then when you have little bit of setbacks, maybe not necessarily the season you want. There can be possibilities and there could be reasons to have kind of that self doubt, but it truly seemed like obviously summer ball truly kind of helped with that, helped you get that belief back, also helped that belief go into fall. And I do want to talk a little bit about last year, a little bit of fall, a little bit more. But before we talk about that, you did mention the fact that you're getting a little bit more power. And I wanted to ask you this one specific question before we kind of go on. Have you hit a dinger or home run out to right field yet? Because I know you guys have that huge fence. I also know you have that wall or hill or whatever you want to call it. Like it's not your typical baseball field over at MSU.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it when they come in and we'll watch them like practice because that's what teams do on Thursday. Travel in and you practice on the field, and teams will spend half their practice like with the outfield just trying to figure out how to play that wall. But no, I actually have not hit a home run to right
Okay.
field. I've hit a ball dead center. That
Hey,
actually
there you go.
got robbed. It actually got robbed.
Oh,
And then I've hit obviously home runs to the left side of the field. So
yeah.
my last memory of hitting a home run was the last day of fall. I hit two. So I hit one left center that went. Trackman got it at 4:15, and then I pulled one down the
Hey,
line off the scoreboard. So that was like a big day for me as well.
I was just going to say you can't necessarily complain about that day, two home runs in one specific day.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet to end the fall that way.
Yeah, I was just going to say if you're talking about confidence, there's probably no bigger confidence than ending fall with two home runs going into individual practices.
Yeah, it felt great. I mean, before that, I felt like I was in a slump. And I went like 2 for 7 in our Green and White World Series to start it off, and then having a day going 4 for 4 with a double and two home runs was like really it really boosted confidence going in, not only to like individual work, but then also going into the season, kind of build off that.
Yeah, and I know that you guys as a team want to kind of build off of what you did last year. I know that you guys end up going to the Big Ten tournament, end up going to Omaha, which for a lot of people, that's kind of like a dream come true, is playing college baseball in Omaha, because that's where the College World Series is at. Just how fun was it going to Omaha with the team, experiencing that atmosphere, playing a team like Nebraska at their home field with that many fans, with a game that was really competitive that obviously didn't end up going your guys' way, sadly. Just how cool was it kind of being in that atmosphere, and just how much did that kind of like make you excited for obviously summer? We'll talk about summer a little bit more in depth here shortly about like All-Star game and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it was a pretty quick turnaround. We had Minnesota come in the last weekend, and we knew we had some leeway, and we used as much leeway as we could. And
Yeah.
we walked it off Sunday, and then had our little team get together after the game with the parents, and found out that UCLA had beaten Northwestern, so that was pretty cool. And then pretty quick turnaround with the flight the next day, and got down to Omaha. It was like 3 in the morning, so we got there, went to bed, and then woke up, and we stay a block away from the stadium, so you were able to walk to it. So we walked to it and
Okay.
looked at it. Then we had practice at one of the high schools nearby, and the next day I want to say we played Oregon or Nebraska, and that
Yeah.
was a really cool experience with all their fans, and they were really loud, chirping. So that was pretty cool to be a part of that, and it
Yeah.
was a great experience overall. It didn't end it the way we wanted, but just getting there, I think, helped the team going into this year. Knowing like that kind of feeling, like we want to get back to that, and then go even beyond that, try to make a regional and see if we get to Omaha 2 times.
Exactly. Like that's the ultimate goal for every team, is to get to Omaha, to play in the College World Series, to be competitive, and it's something that is a really cool opportunity. I truly hope you guys are able to get there. Obviously, you're kind of building off of what you did last year, but it seemed like it obviously was a business trip for you guys. Hopefully, you're able to at least somewhat enjoy it. I'm sure it was probably more of like wanting to be like super serious, wanting to get ready, obviously, because the Big Ten tournament, like you want to perform well, obviously didn't necessarily go the way you guys wanted to, but hopefully it's something that at least you enjoy, or at least like you said, you continue to use it to build into the summer a little bit.
Yeah, I would say like it was kind of like an experience where it was like, all right, you're here for the first time, like it's nice to experience that, and now going forward, it's like, all right, we need to get back there, and we've already gone through it once, we know what to, so we kind of like understand what it feels like, and I
Yeah.
think we kind of can learn from what happened last year in the tournament, and build off that if we're able to make it this year.
Yeah, it's like I've been there once. I don't want to feel what it's like to not be there. Like that's kind of like the expectation, is to get back there, to be competitive, to make it a little bit further. But like that's kind of like the expectations, is to get back there, to be in a similar position, maybe even a better position seating wise than you did last year.
Yeah, that's like I would say that's one of our big goals this year going into the season, is making the Big Ten tournament, winning a couple games there, see what happens. Because like Coach Boss has kind of always told us, like just get in the tournament and see what happens, because anything can
Yeah.
happen. And you kind
Yeah,
of saw
because if
that.
a team gets hot at the right time, if you win your games, next thing you know, you win the Big Ten tournament, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with I want to say Nebraska had won it last year, and
Yep.
we had them put them away, and they snuck one out against us. They got hot and ended up making a regional because of it. So once you make the tournament, anything can happen.
Exactly. It's about playing well. It's about getting ahead at the right time. And like you said, it's about getting the opportunity to go and then seeing what happens. But after Omaha, you made the decision to go to the Pit Spitters. Just talk about kind of that decision, why you wanted to play for the Pit Spitters, and just how different is playing for the Pit Spitters, like the atmosphere, the style, than compared to MSU, because you're playing almost every single day with the Pit Spitters. It has to be a little bit of a different kind of like approach, or a different feeling playing for the Pit Spitters in summer compared to what you go through at MSU. Not saying it's a bad thing, but just different playing in the summer league compared to playing in the spring in college.
Yeah, my experience up there was one of the best experience I've ever experienced within in baseball in my life. You know, growing up, me and my family, we would take trips up to Traverse City every year, and we would stop by. Before it was the Pittsburghs, it was Beach Bums. We'd go to Beach Bum games. Then it became the
Yep.
Pittsburghs. We'd go to a game, and that was kind of like one of my goals coming into college was like to get to the Pittsburghs and be on the team. And they're one of the I would say that the best organization in the Northwoods. The way they
Oh
treat
yeah,
the
I agree.
players, and yeah, I mean the stadium's awesome. We get I want to say it was between like 3,000 and 5,000 fans a night. So playing in front of that was experience in itself, and we it was very pro style approach to every single day. You got your schedule, you got the BP schedule, so you show up, kind of do your own thing, hit BP, and they fed us, and it was super laid back, but it was like serious at the same time. It was like the perfect
Yeah,
mix, and Coach Todd did a great job, I would say. And it was just overall a great experience going up there and playing in front of everybody up there because they don't have sports up there like that we do down here. So like
exactly.
that's like the main attraction. Traverse City. A lot of people go there in the summer, so that was like another thing. It was just great. The only thing that really sucked was the travel because
Oh
it's
yeah,
so much further away from everybody. It's long
yeah.
bus rides, late night, early mornings. But overall, it was great, and playing every day it was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me. Allowed me to get the experience, allowed me to develop routines like a pro style catcher does, and
Yeah,
it also allowed me to kind of be on my own. Being 4 hours away from my family, like you kind of felt like you're on your own up there. Even though I was with a couple teammates from Michigan State, living with them, and that was great. But not having your family around, it gets tough for sure. There was a couple nights I would say like if I felt like I didn't play the best, like I couldn't just like go to my parents and go for them for the comfort. I just kind of had to sit there in my
exactly.
own thoughts and just kind of take. I don't know the exact wording, but like just sit there and get over it yourself and just move on from it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's kind of not only like a growth opportunity, but also trying to get a little bit of a taste of what professional baseball is going to be like. Like, if you do get drafted, if you do play in the minor leagues, you're going to have that travel. You're going to have that back to back to back, especially if you're like the main catcher. Like, you're going to be catching a lot of games. You're going to kind of be far away from family. And that's just kind of part of what it's like in the minor leagues, which is obviously a great experience, like you talked about. Maybe one of the most fun times you've had in playing baseball is going through that, and obviously you learned a lot about yourself through that. Obviously, you've had a ton of fun experiences through that. I do want to talk a little bit about the All Star game, kind of finding out about how that happened, kind of playing there here shortly. But you did mention, obviously, when you were growing up, that you went to Pittsburgh's games, or at that time they weren't the Pittsburghs. When you were young like that, could you have ever imagined yourself playing on that field? And now that you do, is it kind of like a cool, like full circle moment knowing that, hey, like when I was young, I was kind of those kids up in the stands, and now I'm down here playing and kind of being the quote unquote player that like you would look up to when you're young?
Yeah, it's definitely surreal. I mean, there was obviously little kids coming at every single game, and they kind of reminded me of myself when I was younger and how the guys when I was younger approached these little kids, and I felt like, and
Yeah,
my mom also told me this, but she's like, don't turn down any autographs. So that was like one of the biggest things was like if a little kid asked me for an autograph, like that was me 10 years ago, and
yeah.
uh, and I just know that like I remember that still to this day. Like I don't remember every single kid that I gave an autograph to, but I know that that little kid remembers getting an autograph from a college baseball player because we're like their heroes in a way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it has to be so much fun to have like kids, to have people come up to you asking for your autograph. Like that has to be kind of like a cool feeling, like saying like, hey, like I'm kind of like the point for them to like look up to, and I'm obviously it's a cool feeling, but it's also one of those opportunities that you want to be kind of that role model. Like you want, like you mentioned, you want to be that player that signs the autographs because you don't want be that person that doesn't sign those autographs, and you're like, well, that guy's not a nice person
Yeah.
to put it. Probably the PG version that I should.
hmm
So
Yeah, I mean, that's how I kind of approached every single day was just like be the best person I could possibly be, best baseball player, and that like goes into like signing the autograph, taking pictures after games, and yeah, I think like that was like another a big stride that I took was just kind of maturing up a little bit more than what I was kind of coming in and kind of grounding myself in a way like because I was that kid and
yeah,
I think it kind of just goes to show to like any little kid that you can really do whatever you want when you put your mind to it and believe in what and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams.
yeah, it's about like you said, like believing in your dreams. Like anything you put your mind to, like you can do. Like you're living it. Like that was probably a dream that you wanted to do as a kid. Now you're playing with the Pittsburghs. Now you're playing college baseball. You still have quite a few years left to go, but I do want to kind of bring up something that you talked about because you talked about kind of the professional like routine. And obviously, I know your goal is to get drafted one day, play professional baseball. That's why everyone goes to college baseball is to get kind of the opportunity of college sports as well. I know that you were the main catcher for a lot of the season. Just talk a little bit about kind of the routine that you've kind of like learned, kind of like that professional catcher routine, because it's one of those positions that when you're kind of the main catcher, you're taking a toll not only physically on yourself but mentally as well. Like it's a really really difficult position. So how important is it to have that routine, and just how much of a toll did it take on you both physically and mentally when you were kind of the main guy for a lot of the season?
Yeah, I think my routine started the day before a game. So like right after the game, get back, do whatever, and kind of sit in my thoughts. But then I also had to realize like I had to drop everything that happened the day before to move into the next day because it is a new day. And so it kind of started then, and then just kind of always staying prepared, staying loose. Like I would try to get up as early as I could with while I was still getting the right amount of sleep, and I think like that helped a lot. And then getting to the field, moving my body helped a ton. And going through BPs also was also like a big thing, is because it's just another way to like warm up your body for the game. And so there was always a routine in there with like swinging and then and catching before games. Like I had my own routine before I warmed up the pitcher, and yeah, I mean it was just as pro as it could have gotten in college baseball. I would say like again, Coach T took a great approach to it and made it very pro style like where he wasn't always he I don't think he really yelled more than like once or twice the whole summer, and which was kind of nice because you learned how to deal with the failure and
Yeah.
all that. So yeah, I mean my routine started the day before. Really was just kind of getting over those thoughts about the game previously, and then going into the next day. And I would say that helped me definitely mentally, because I wasn't always thinking about like the thoughts prior, whether it was a really good day or a really bad day, because that's just how baseball works. Like you could have a
Yeah.
really good game one day and have a horrible game the next. So just moving past that was a big thing. I mean, physically, I would say like my body held up really well. But there was definitely days where it was like getting out of bed was like, oh, I'm sore. But you
Yeah.
just have to get past that. I would go early and get treatment done, and yeah, that was pretty much the routine for the most part, was just mentally like getting over the previous day, and then physically just preparing my body to get play that next day, which was also like a big thing, is because you couldn't sit and dwell on a game if you didn't play the best, because you had to go get up and play the next day.
Yeah, and like for you, like or just in general, like you don't necessarily know if you're going to play that next day. Like you probably don't necessarily know until you get to the field, or maybe like your coaches or something like that, like let you know the night before. I would kind of assume probably not, but it's almost like you kind of have to prepare, like you're getting the start, so you kind of have to have that routine or kind of have to have the belief you're going to play that day. So you can't really, like you mentioned, let what happened yesterday affect you, because if you're going to let that affect you, you're not going to be prepared to play the next day, even if you're scheduled to start.
Yeah, going into the summer, I knew that I was going to be the guy up there, so I think that kind of also helped me figure out what was best. And talking with the coaches, we kind of set up a schedule on when I was going to play, when I wasn't going to play, rest days, and even DH days. Yeah, I mean they took care of us really well up there, I would say, and I
Yeah.
think that helped a ton.
Which is good, right? Like that's what you want to have. You want to have that kind of minor league, major league kind of like program, but you also want to make sure that they care about you, that you're taken care of, that they want you to succeed. And that's one thing that the Pittsburghs have done extremely well. Is you mentioned like probably one of the best, if not the best, organization in the Northwoods. You guys had an incredible year. I'll talk about and ask about that here shortly. But I kind of want to go into a little bit more about like routine, kind of getting ready for the game, because obviously, like you said, you prepare, you kind of get ready for the day prior. But for you, like, what kind of like mindset change happens like when you finally like suit up and you're in like your catcher gear? Is it kind of like an instant like switch that happens? Like, is it almost like you just like officially kind of like lock in? Because I don't want to say like you're not having fun or you're not getting ready, but is that just kind of like a little bit of a mindset shift for you when you kind of put on all that catcher gear and you're like, okay, like let's go, this is serious now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with like when we show up to the stadium, like everything's loose. Like the fellas were just having fun in the clubhouse, like going through BP. After BP, you still got a couple hours before the game, so you're kind of staying loose and enjoying your time up there. And then, as you know, like the clubhouse is kind of on the main like level of the stadium. It's not behind a dugout, so
Yeah.
you kind of start to lock in once you put on the jersey, and then you walk down. You're still kind of loose, and then playing catches when you start to kind of like lock it in, and then going through like the catcher routine that I would go through. That's when I kind of locked it in was after that, and then catching the bullpen. So I wouldn't say specifically putting on that catching gear was like when you locked in, because I would say I was already locked in while I was putting that on. But yeah,
Okay.
you kind of it's kind of just like you're loose, then you start to lock in, and then you're locked. So it's just kind of like that.
Yeah, like you just want to make sure you're completely locked in, and then next thing you know, first pitch comes, you're catching the first pitch, and then here we go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like every single game, like that first inning was still nerve wracking to go through. But after the first inning, you kind of settle in and you just kind of put on cruise control, I guess you could say, and you stay the course. Yeah, I mean, um,
You're like I've already done this before. Like I've done this thousands of times. Like it's just baseball, and it's kind of just like after that first inning, you're like, okay, like it's just a game. This is what I've experienced in the past.
yeah, like I mean, it's the same game that we started playing when we were all like 5 years old to now. It's just
Exactly.
obviously a little bit more difficult, but it's still a
Yeah.
game that all of us enjoyed when we were little kids, and it's pretty much just we're all just little kids out there still playing, is what I kind of would say.
Yeah, because baseball is known as the kids game or like the childhood game. Like it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that you play for a really long time. It's supposed to be something that you enjoy. I know it's something that you obviously enjoy, and that's obviously again led you to where you are. It's led you to become the player, the catcher that you are. But one thing you mentioned pretty early on is talking about the All Star game at the Pittsburghs, kind of going through the Northwoods. How did you find out about that? What did it mean to you when you heard that you were selected to the All Star game? And just how fun was it being there with all the other All Stars and being recognized as, quote unquote, some of the best players at your position in the entire Northwoods League?
Yeah, I mean, after as a All Star selection had come up, I knew that I was gonna have the chance to be in it, and I actually wasn't selected to the first, I guess you could say, All Star selection. But the one, so there's like they take the top two catchers, and
Okay.
the one catcher didn't want to play. He was done because Guys
Really?
coming out of the Northwood, so he was done. So after one of the games that we had won at home, I got called into the office and was told that I got selected to go to the All-Star game if I wanted to. Um, which for me was pretty much a no-doubter, but I was actually going home the weekend of the All-Star game because I had it off from my
Yeah.
understanding at first. And so I went and talked to my parents, and they were like, "Yeah, absolutely go." Like that's such a big accomplishment so far in my baseball career that like it's almost like a no doubter. So then I went back in, told the coaches like, yeah, I'm absolutely willing to go. And the All Star experience was great. Going to Wisconsin, the uh, the owner actually took us in her truck, so that was pretty cool.
Did they
And
really? That's awesome.
yeah, it was awesome. And then just getting to be around like those guys that they're the best players in the woods, and there's some big name schools that you're playing up against and with. Like that was pretty cool. It was definitely tough. Like I want to say in my first at bat, the dude was like up to like 96, 97 with right at the top. So like it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I made some big plays defensively and came up. I want to say it was like the ninth inning with the runner on second with like one out, and I ended up striking out. But if I would have base hit, I guess I would have been the player of the game. So that's pretty cool to like look back on. And I would say overall, it's just a really cool experience because not everybody gets to experience something like that. And I did. I just when I was there, I was just not trying to take anything for granted and soak it all up.
Exactly. And not only did you go to All Star game, you guys as a team, like I believe you won the first half, the second half as well, fell a little bit short in playoffs. But that'd be like so cool, kind of being a part of a team that was so successful. Obviously, I know you guys wanted to obviously win the championship in the end, but I believe you guys had like by far like the best like combined record. I don't even feel like it's even that close. So not only having the All Star game, but having the season that you did, falling a little bit short, I'm sure that's probably something again that's kind of a little bit of a motivational point for you. But it truly seems like it's something that you loved. It seems like it's something that you're happy that you did. Do you see yourself going back if you get the opportunity to?
Yeah, the opportunity has definitely presented itself to go back there, and that's still on the table. But one of my goals coming to college baseball was like going out to the Cape and playing out on the Cape this summer and or
Yep.
for summer, and that's the goal still right now. So we're kind of just taking it day by day, not trying to make too many decisions right now because we still have a whole season to play first and
Yeah.
with Michigan State, and then making a decision after. So the opportunity is definitely there. They've told me I'm able to come back if I want to, but right now I think the first goal is to get out to the Cape. So if I'm able to get out there, then that's where I'm going to go. But if I'm not able to get that, and in Traverse City, maybe the next spot that I go back to.
I was just going to say, for anyone that doesn't know about the Cape League, like it's probably the best summer baseball league in the entire country, or one of the best. Like there's some dogs that go there. And I
Hmm.
truly hope that you get the opportunity to go there because I think very highly of you as a baseball player. I also think very highly of you as an individual because you're able to join and willing to join the podcast, which again, I really appreciate. And I don't want to take up a ton more of your time, but I do have obviously a couple more questions to go because we've talked about the Pittsburghs. We've talked about kind of like what you've been improving on, but like outside of like power hitting, stuff like that. Like, what are some things that you're kind of trying to fine tune or like work on right now? Like, you don't necessarily have to go like in depth because I'm sure there's probably some things that you kind of want to keep like on your side of things. But like, is it just continuing to hit? Is it continuing to get better? Is it just catching bullpens, just BP? Is it just kind of the main things that you use to get better throughout the individual season to get ready for spring?
As a baseball player, like there's always something you can work on. So
Yeah.
defensively, like we're all still working on everything, like accuracy. Like my arm strength's there. I just got to get more accurate with it, and I know that. Receiving is something we work on every single day, so that can always be better. Same with like just blocking, and then also with like the bullpen, just getting to know the pitchers more and more every single bullpen session. And then with hitting, as a hitter, like there's always something that you can correct or work on, and it's kind of just like right now we're just trying to get better in whatever way we possibly can.
Yeah. How difficult is it every single like off season or after every single season? Obviously, there's changeover. There's guys that graduate. There might be guys that transfer. All that kind of stuff because college athletics is that way. Like now, how difficult is it kind of learning or bringing new guys in? Like as a catcher, like kind of understanding a little bit more about that game. Is it takes time? Like, do you truly spend all of fall kind of individual sessions to try to figure out those guys? Is it kind of dependent on the pitcher? Some guys is a little bit easier. Some guys are a little bit takes a little bit longer. Like that has to be a little bit of I don't want to say an issue, but a little bit of like time or like could be frustrating because there's a lot of new guys that like come in every single year and you still have to learn those guys, but then you still have to know the guys that are coming back as well. Like that's a lot of work that you have to put in.
Yeah, it definitely takes some time. It definitely takes the first few weeks of the fall to like kind of get comfortable with all the new pitchers and even get more comfortable with the old guys. But we have like half the team this year is new, so definitely take some time. Like the first couple weeks of the fall is a little bit more difficult because you're still trying to learn the guys,
Yeah.
kind of what they do while you're doing your own thing. So it's like I would say it's a little bit more difficult for the pitchers and catchers rather than like a position player. So it definitely takes some time. Some guys are easier to get more comfortable with sooner than other guys, and that's just kind of how it is. And that's no shot on anybody, but
Yeah.
that's just how it is for our sport.
Yeah, exactly. And now being kind of a junior, being a catcher as well, you guys are kind of seen as like the leaders or one of the leaders on the team because you're involved in every single play. There's communication between you, the pitcher, there's communication between you and everyone. Just how important is it kind of being that leader at the catcher position, kind of like buying into like what the program is preaching, buying into kind of forming those relationships with the new guys, but also forming the relationships and continuing the relationship with the more experienced guys as well that are back because a lot of people are going to be kind of dependent on you in that position. You're going to be involved. You have to block. You have to receive. Like you guys are kind of just I don't want to say stuck as the leaders, but like that's just kind of part of what it is.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we're involved in every single play, so that was like a big focal point for me this fall was just being more vocal on the field and off the field with both the position players and the pitchers. And I mean, yeah, we're seen as like the leaders on the field. We're in everything, and that was like one of the big steps that I was taking over the fall was just becoming a better leader on the field.
Yeah, and obviously being a redshirt sophomore as well, even though like you've been there for quote unquote 3 years, like now you're kind of like one of the older guys, one of the more experienced guys. Like you kind of have to have a different approach being one of the more experienced guys, like understanding like, hey, this is like how we do things. This is how things kind of go, but also being there for like the freshmen, sophomores that haven't been there as long as you have. There's kind of a little bit of a switch when it comes to being the more experienced one. And like you're talking about, you can definitely see that you're trying to put in that time, that effort to be there. But it has to be a different feeling, kind of being one of the more older players on the team, one of the more experienced players on the team, compared to when you were at MSU at the beginning 2 years ago.
Yeah, it is. It is much different than being a freshman. I mean, coming in, we kind of like as it's like our third year, we kind of know what to expect and what we're gonna go through. But the new guys and freshmen, like they all have questions, so you're just there for those guys and kind of just pulling them along when they're kind of going through for the first time for themselves. And we were all there one day, like we were
Yeah.
all the little freshmen showing up, not knowing what to expect the first few weeks of the fall. But I think the class that came in, both the freshmen and transfers, did a great job of adjusting and getting better throughout the fall.
Yeah, like you said, everyone, like you guys have experienced what they have. That's why you're there to obviously help them, lead them, try to like navigate kind of that world of an ever-changing like college athletics. Just it's a big transfer spot, and it's a big transfer kind of into college athletics, like you mentioned, like it's not something that's necessarily easy. It takes a ton of time to do so. But like now being in the spot that you are, kind of being a quote unquote redshirt sophomore, but more of kind of like a junior, how does that feel? Like, is it kind of a weird feeling a little bit knowing that this is your third year in college?
Yeah, like it is different to think about. I mean, the time has flown by. It being the third year, like most guys only have another year after this year of eligibility, which I'm fortunate enough to have a couple more years after this year. But it's different being an older guy. Like you're not expected to make the mistakes that like you come in as a freshman making. So it's definitely a little different, and you got to take a different approach every single day. Like your body doesn't recover as quickly as you kind of did as a freshman, so you have to approach the day based on that, and it is definitely a little different, but it's also like a good feeling as well, knowing like you're ready to take the next step on the pro ball here in a couple of years, and that's also a good feeling.
Yeah, like there's higher expectations on you, but that's in a good spot to be because you want those expectations. You want to be able to perform. You want to have that trust in your coaching staff to put you out there that they know that you will make the play. And that's something that obviously takes time. That's something that you obviously build as you go in. I know that you've been building. I know that you have big goals and aspirations for this year. So I'm going to wrap up with kind of like that question, one last question. Just what are some of your goals for this year? Obviously, I know it's going back to Omaha, going into the Big Ten tournament, performing better than what you guys did last year, hopefully winning it as well. Are those the goals? Do you have like specific goals? Do you have like things that you want to get better in? Like just overall, what would you say are some of your goals for this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with like the team. Obviously, getting back to the Big Ten tournament is obviously a big goal, and making a regional is also another big goal of ours. So we kind of approach the day based on that, and understand that you can't achieve those goals right now, right? So you're kind
Yeah.
of just building towards that, and then for some personal goals I have is like being on a Big Ten first or second team. Getting drafted is obviously a big goal. Getting out to the Cape's a big goal. And then there's some like little goals in there that I've kind of set for myself, and just kind of do everything I can to build towards those because we all understand that goals aren't achieved all in one day, but you take those steps and eventually they're achievable, right? So, we
Yeah.
all have like our own personal goals as a team, and then as a whole, we all have like the goal of being as successful as possible, which is being successful comes with making the Big Ten tournament, comes with making a regional, so like that's kind of what we're striving towards right now.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like you can't achieve that right now. It's not like you can't achieve that in one big step. Like you need to achieve small little individual goals to eventually reach the big goal that you want to. And that's obviously what the off season is for. That's what obviously in the season is for is kind of go through those ups and downs, but to try to get to the main goal. And I know that's something that you guys have been obviously putting in a ton of time to do. And I truly hope you're able to achieve not only those individual goals, but those team goals as well. And I think you guys are going to obviously have a great year. I know that you're extremely excited for it. I'm excited to see how you guys do. I'm excited to obviously see how you perform. But to wrap it up, I'm going to ask one last question. What's the most important life lesson you've learned through baseball, especially during your time at MSU?
Ooh, I would say baseball is like in some ways kind of like life. Like you're gonna go through ups and downs, and just how you get past those ups and downs. I think is one of the biggest things that I've experienced and kind of learned as I've gone through college baseball these last few years, um, and just dealing with the failures of it and the setbacks, and just being able to be a better person, better baseball player past those, and leaving the
Yeah,
things in the past, learning from the past, and not focus too much on the future, but staying within the present.
exactly. No, I think that's obviously not only a great way to approach it, but just a great lesson is that you can take away these specific things about not only getting better on the field, but also becoming a better person, about growing, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, that's one thing that I think is really cool about college athletics or just athletics in general. is you can learn just much more than what you learn on the field. It's about what you can take what you learn on the field and use it off the field and use it to grow as well. I feel like there's a lot more lessons that go into college athletics than just getting better at the sport, even though that's obviously the goal is to get better to win. There's still obviously life lessons beyond that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Adam, I really appreciate you joining again. I hope this was about as fun as the last time. I definitely had fun. It's been awesome talking with you. One thing I always say, and I know I said this last time, but if you ever want to come back on, make a third appearance, which would be the first time an athlete would do that, would absolutely love to have you back on. Maybe we can do that like when you eventually play in the Cape Cod League. Maybe we can do that after you're getting drafted. But I really do appreciate you joining. I really do hope you have a big year. I'll obviously be a big fan of yourself, be a big fan of the team. Hope you guys achieve a lot of the goals that you talked about. And I really appreciate you joining. It's been a ton of fun, and hopefully we can do this again sometime in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on here again, and I look forward to it.
Absolutely, and that is a wrap to episode number 516. Thank you again to Adam for joining, and tune in to the next episode.